Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we are going to be going over my final thoughts on the 2022 BMW X3, the things that I don't like about it, the things that I like about it as well, and so yeah, let's go right into the video. So in today's video we have the car backwards in the driveway and we have all this space here. If you guys are wondering, we had quite the windstorm last night and you know, I didn't want trees to fall on a press car, so moved it back a little bit. But anyways, let's first talk about the looks here of the X3. And this is something that I think is a positive and a little bit of a negative as well. So first off, I think it's a really good looking vehicle. And I think that this generation of X3 is really nice proportion wise. I thought the X3 in the past just looked a little bit too small. Whereas this, I feel like it looks like filled out enough that it's just really nice from a proportion perspective. And BMW didn't go crazy with the grille like they have on the 3 Series and 4 Series, and you know, overall, you know, from a headlight perspective, I think it looks good, and overall it's a good looking car. But the only thing going against the X3 is it doesn't really look all that much different from any other BMW, and so when this is driving around the road and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really have its own unique road presence. It's good looking, it's just not unique in any way, so that's kind of, it's got that going about it. The wheels, you know, I mean, for a $50,000 car, I think they're pretty good looking wheels. You guys know I like the more stylized wheels, but I think that these are just kind of like a classic luxury type look. And I actually like the little venting element here on the side. I think it kind of breaks things up a little bit from a color perspective. And also just, you know, again, instead of just having this sea of paint, you have a little bit happening there off to the side. And then let's pop to the rear, which of course the car unlocks now. You guys gotta stare at my old man slippers. Popping here to the rear, this is the most controversial part here of the new X3. Some people just don't really like these taillights. I actually am a fan. I think they look really cool, really modern. Now they don't exactly match the front end. It's kind of interesting because like the front end just looks like classic BMW. This is like an all new take, looks way different than what BMW has done in the past. And so it definitely does take some time to grow on you, but overall, I think it looks good. And then the overall shape of the back end I think looks good. I like how they have the dual exhaust tips here on the back. Even on this model that only has the 2-liter, I think they did a pretty good job with the overall aesthetics, with everything to, you know, make it look like a sporty vehicle. And more charging through the snow. Popping here to the interior, something that I like that I don't know if it's going to show very well here on camera that I went over in the review is like the fact that this will kind of like flash its color when you have it open, so that at night someone can kind of see that the door is open. I thought that was pretty cool. I do like the two-tone look of this interior. I think the interior looks pretty cool from an aesthetic perspective, but the one thing that I will complain about is I wish there was a little bit more nice material use. So like the padding right here is pretty nice, and you can see up above, but then you guys can see here it's padded, but it's not quite as much as what you see down below, and aesthetically it doesn't look quite as pretty from a design perspective, but it is at least padded, so I will give the X3 that. And then from a seat perspective, I think they did a really good job. You've got the perforations here in the center. They didn't go crazy, but I think a lot of people purchasing this car don't want an over-stylized seat, so I think they did a good job with that. And then the fact that the rear passengers get their own climate zone and then USBs and all that fun stuff, I think that's also a big positive. And then something that's a slight negative with the X3 is there isn't a bunch of legroom in the back. You can fit adults back there, but if you want to have more space, X5. Anyways, popping here to the front, same stuff applies to the door panel here at the front. I do like the window controls. I like what they've done with the material use on these. I think they look great. It's got blind spot monitoring, which you guys know I'm a fan of because, you know, safety tech. And then you guys can see here with the seats, love the headrest, and I actually really like the design here on the front seats. I think this looks really good. Now, I feel like this is pointless because all that this ever does is just collect crumbs. Every single car that I've seen that has this little thigh bolster thing just collects a bunch of crumbs in that little area. So I'm kind of, and I've never used it myself personally. So, yeah, kind of a pointless feature in my personal opinion. And then I like the seat adjustments even feel pretty nice from a trim perspective. Pedals, you know, maybe they could have done a little bit more of a premium thing for that since it's a luxury car. And then the light control right here, again, look at the material use. I think that's really nice. And we shall pop in. Ooh, stop start button's down here. Hopefully the radio isn't playing. Ah, the radio's on. There we go. Now it's off. we'll pretend like that never happened. I really like the steering wheel. I think the steering wheel looks really cool. It feels really nice in your hand. Paddle shifters are great. This transmission is amazingly responsive. One of the most responsive transmissions out there, just in any vehicle, really. It's a really good transmission. I like how the heated steering wheel button is on the steering wheel, so I don't have to like look over here and, you know what I mean, look for a million years to find it. It's like, boom, right there in the center. So I think that's another big plus. Now, I might be wrong in this, but I played the cruise control a little bit, and it doesn't seem like it's an adaptive system. Again, I might be wrong. Let me know in the comment section below if I'm wrong, and if I just was using the cruise control system improperly. But it seemed like it was just regular cruise control with like lane keep assist and blind spot mirroring and all that. It wasn't doing like a follow function or anything. But again, you know, maybe I'm just not smart enough, right? Anyways, turn signal stock, windshield wiper stock. These could have been a little bit nicer material-wise because it's just like basic plastic. So, I mean, that's something that I will say. The center gauge cluster, I think this looks fantastic. Just the overall aesthetic, everything. I think it's really, really beautiful. So I think BMW nailed it with that. Now, as for the infotainment system, response time on it is great. It's easy to use as well. And I like the manual search function here at the radio because it's, again, it's easy to use. It's straightforward. It's not annoying whatsoever. And it has gesture control, which I also like. And then the camera system, which apparently I didn't pop it in reverse fully, is really good with the resolution. Now, it would be cool if this had a 360 camera and all that, but you know, at least it has a really good backup camera. Down below, we've got the dual zone climate controls here, and this does have heated seats. I think it should also have ventilated seats. $50,000, it should have that, if you ask me. And this is pretty cool. You can press this, and then you can go into the safety tech. Basically, there's two different modes. There's everything on, and then there's custom, where you can have some of the stuff off, which I think that's nice, that you can just press the button and be like, okay, I'm gonna go into my custom mode, or I wanna have all the safety tech on. And then this whole area right here, I'm neutral, but I think they just did a good job with compartmentalizing everything. I'm glad we have analog control for the infotainment system for those of you that don't want to use a touchscreen. And then the shifter sometimes is a little bit annoying with like how the functionality on it, but overall it's pretty easy to use and you get used to it. I like how all the drive modes are labeled out, so you can just be like, okay, I want to go into sport, I want to go into comfort, I want to go into Eco Pro, that you can just press a button and boom, done. So I think that's definitely nice. And then as for the center console, it's got a USB in it, but something you guys will notice is I don't really see a wireless phone charger anywhere. And then also, I think this should be nicer material to match the piano black trim right there. And then the dash, there's some wood trim here, but it's kind of plain. So I think that was another missed opportunity here with the X3. Glove box, absolutely massive, tons of storage space in that, so that's a big plus. Panoramic sunroof, another nice plus. I'm a huge fan of that. I think BMW should work on doing a camera mirror like other manufacturers. So again, that's just my personal opinion. It's a nice bit of safety tech. Now the last thing is talking about the powertrain. And it has this double latch hood, which is great because what that means is you can just pick it up. So this powertrain actually puts out pretty decent power figures. For a $50,000, you know, quote-unquote performance SUV, it actually is pretty good from an acceleration perspective. The chassis on this is amazing, so it stays nice and planted, and it gets really good grip with the all-wheel drive system, with the X-Drive system. And so overall, I think this is a great base powertrain for this vehicle. More power, obviously, I'd love that, but I think this is honestly more than enough. And the transmission carries this vehicle. The transmission's so quick and so smooth that it makes this powertrain feel good. And it makes me feel like I don't really need any more. And also, I have to put this in the video. Closing this is so easy. You just have to get it like right here, and then just boom, and it closes every single time. There's no rebound. So I think that's great. But yeah, let's sum things up. So in final summarization here with the BMW X3. First off, it's a pretty good looking car, but there's nothing unique about it from an aesthetic perspective. It just looks like a regular BMW. The interior is really nice. There are some touch points and some things that you have to look at that don't exactly look very luxury car-esque, but for the most part, it's got a nice interior. The tech is great with it as well. There are a few features that it's missing, but overall, it's got most of the stuff that you need. And then from a driving characteristic perspective, it gets pretty good fuel economy. It's very smooth on the highway. It's got good passing power. The transmission is definitely the highlight. It's super smooth, super quick to shift, and the engine gives it more than enough power. And if you want more power, right, they offer higher performance variants with the X3, where you can get like an inline six, for a turbo inline six to be exact. For example, if this 2-liter isn't enough for you. So overall, as like, you know, kind of BMW's, you know, smaller luxury SUV, it's a pretty good vehicle cool overall, and it is a little bit more on the expensive side of things, but it's not too crazy out there. It's still somewhat within the realm of affordability, and so overall I think it's a great entry-level SUV for BMW, basically. And in terms of whether or not you should look into buying it, here's what I have to say is if you want a really nice luxury daily driver that isn't crazy expensive, that's going to get good gas mileage, that's going to be fun to drive in certain circumstances, but not to like drive to the limit, just to, you know, have a little bit of fun here and there, the X3 will be great at doing that.